Hello. This video tutorial is for the form to request civil harassment restraining orders. It's Judicial Council Form CH-100, and here is how you fill it out. You'll start by typing in your name. If you are filing this, then you are the person seeking protection. Put in your age. If you have a lawyer, put their information here. Otherwise, skip down and put your address information, including your street address, your city, state we'll assume is California. Do include your telephone number as well as an email address if you have one. Then scroll down to paragraph 2. The person from whom protection is sought. Well, that's the person who has been harassing and annoying you. So you will put down the name of harassing person. If you know their age or you can estimate their age, you can put it there. If you know their address, go ahead and type in their street address here, their city address. Okay. Then we will go down to paragraph number 3, additional protected persons. If there are other people who live in your household and you believe that they also need protection from the person in number 2, then you can check the box here that says yes, you do want to protect other people. Then you can write in their names here. So you could write name of spouse, male or female, age, lives with you, yes, how are they related, spouse, or you could put in name of child. The same, you'd fill out, child or parent, or it doesn't have to be related. It could just be name of roommate and how are they related, share room, house, whatever the case may be. If you do not have anyone that you also want protection for, so you're just asking for the restraining order for yourself, then just hit no and continue on. If there are more than 4 people living with you that you want protection for, you will have to also check this box and then add another piece of paper. You use this form called the MC025. It's just a blank attachment page, and you can add the extra people. Okay, now we'll scroll down to number 4, relationship of the parties. So this is where you explain how you know the person who is harassing you. For example, if they live next door, you could just put neighbor, or if they're somebody that you know from the neighborhood or from church, you could just put whatever the case may be. You just have to briefly explain how you know the other person. In paragraph number 5, you have to tell the court why you're filing here in Siskiyou County. So if you believe that the other person lives in Siskiyou County, mark the box next to paragraph A. If you have been harassed here in Siskiyou County, mark B. You can mark both of them if you want. If there's some other reason why you're filing in Siskiyou County as opposed to some other county, mark B and explain it here. Most likely, if you are filing here, it's because either A or B or both apply. Number 6, if you have any other cases involving yourself and this person, you'll have to fill that information in here. For example, if you have already filed a previous civil harassment case, then you'll put in, mark the box under 1 and indicate what county or state. So maybe you filed this in Oregon, so you could type Jackson County, Oregon. Um, the year filed, if you filed it last year, for example, just put 2018. If you know the case number, fine. If not, just leave it blank. On the other hand, if you have not been involved in any of these types of cases with the other person, go ahead and click no or mark no if you're printing this out. If there are no other orders in place, mark no. If there are, mark yes. Sometimes there may be criminal protective orders, or there may be orders from another state or county, so you would include those at this point. Which brings us to the most important part of the whole petition for restraining order, which is to explain in detail exactly what happened, the series of events, how many times you've been harassed, and it's important that you be detailed. This goes on to a full other sheet, and you may use as much additional paper as you need to make sure you paint the whole picture of what's happened. So we'll start here. When did it happen? So we'll just say January 1st, 2019. Who else was there? So list all of the other people who were. So everybody else who was there when you were harassed or threatened or otherwise, um, even if they're not related to you, even if you may not be able to find them, even if all you know is a first name, go ahead and put down as much information you can about other people who were present. And if no one else was present, just write nobody else was present. Okay, so under 3, this is where it gets important. How did the person harass you? So if the person made threatening comments, you could just write something like, well, let me just type it this way first. So explain in detail so basically, whatever the behavior is, even if it seems outlandish or unexpected, that's what you need to write down. Just in detail, describe exactly what happened. If the other person used threatening words or even swear words, make sure you write down as close to exactly what happened as possible. Um, Under 4, did the person threaten you with a gun or other weapon? So in the example I type above, yes, the person did, and the type of weapon was a club. Um, were you injured? If you were, check yes and explain. If you were not injured, check no. Okay, did the police come? Yes or no. Okay, then you get down to has a person harassed you at other times? So if they have, click yes and write in everything else that has happened. And again, if you need to use extra paper, do a search online for this form MC-025 and you can attach it to this request. Okay, next. So here's where you check the orders that you want. So personal conduct orders, we're going to check this always. So if you want the person not to be able to harass, intimidate, molest, attack, strike, stalk, threaten, assault, hit, abuse, destroy your property, or disturb the peace, click that box. If you do not want the person to contact you in any way, either directly or through somebody else, click that box. If there is something else that you would like the other person to either have to do or not do, check box C. And so if the other person is being a bully or cyberbully or threatening over the internet, you can ask that they stop doing that, and the judge can order that. Okay, so then the next one is the stay away orders. Oftentimes somebody who is being harassing needs to just be told to stay away. So we'll mark the box for stay away. And you'll have to indicate how far away you'd like the other person to stay from you. It could be anything from 0 to 500, maybe more or less depending on the circumstances. But anyways, put a number there. Then you'll have to check the boxes next to who you want and how far away you want the person to stay from you or people related to you. So obviously you'll check the box for you. You can check the box for the other people to be protected if you have written anybody in paragraph 3, and anybody who lives in your home. So if there are people there, click that box. If there's a problem and you want the other person to stay away from your house, that box. Away from your job, that box. If you are in school, uh, you can check that one. If your children are also protected in paragraph number 3 as other persons to be protected, then check the box for their school. If they are in child care, such as after school daycare or daycare because they're not yet in school, click that box. Your vehicle and other. So if there is some other place that they, for example, maybe if you spend some time at a relative's house, um, you might want them to be told to stay away from that house, or if you have anywhere else that you go on a regular or semi-regular basis that you just think that needs to be ordered, you can put that address here. Also, the next one is if they are told to stay 500 yards, let's just say 500 yards away, will they still be able to get to their house, school, or job? So if you are next door neighbors and you're closer than 500 yards from each other, then you would mark no, and you'll have to explain why the order should go forward, even if it means they won't be able to get to and from their home. Sometimes the judge can reduce this so that they're still ordered to stay away from you and be allowed to come and go from their home. If they live far away and they don't work anywhere near you, and they still can go about their daily business, even if they have to stay away from you, then you can just mark the box for yes. Okay, number 10, if you know that they own firearms or ammunition, mark the box for yes. If you know for sure that they do not, mark the box for no. If you just don't know, it's okay, mark I don't know. That's fine. The next is temporary restraining order. I recommend clicking the box for temporary restraining order. This way you are protected and you can be protected from the day that you file the papers until the date you go to the court for the first time, which can be important in some situations. You just have to answer the box as to whether you told the other person that you are going to ask for a TRO, which temporary restraining order. If you did not tell them that you were going to go file for a restraining order, mark the box no, and then so if there's a valid safety concern and you think that you would be safer by not telling the other party ahead of time, just write that in there. If there's any other reason you can think of why it just would have been impossible or not a good idea to tell the other person, just write that in there. It's fine. If, on the other hand, you did tell them you were going to ask for a restraining order, then just mark the box there that says yes. The next section is you can ask to give less notice. So generally speaking, so ordinarily you have to give at least 5 days notice, which means that the person you're asking for a restraining order against has to be served 5 days before the court hearing. If there's a valid safety concern, you can mark the box for paragraph 12 and explain what the concern is. And the court may give you permission to serve the person closer to the hearing date than 5 days. Okay, number 13. So normally there is a fee for filing a restraining order if the restraining order is based on a threat of violence or stalking, or you're afraid of violence because of how the person has acted. You can ask the court to waive the fee for filing. Also, the sheriff may be ordered to serve the person for free because of the threat of violence or stalking. Also, if you file a fee waiver, you can ask that the sheriff serve for free just based on the fee waiver. If there's any sort of violence or the person has threatened any sort of violence, make sure you check all of these boxes just so that the court can order the service to be done without you having to pay for filing or pay the sheriff. If you have attorney fees or costs, you can mark that box, explain what the costs are, so item that would be attorney fees. Got a really good deal and it's only $1. And just go through all of the costs that you do have. If you don't have attorney fees, well, actually, if you don't have an attorney, you can't get attorney fees even if you're doing all of your own work. That's just the rules. And we'll go to 15, possession or protection of animals. So this one applies also in a situation where maybe you're asking for a restraining order against a roommate, or you're asking for a restraining order against somebody who's been maybe boarding your animals, and they're threatening your animals or threatening you because of your animals. You can mark the box there and identify the animals. So maybe you have a fluffy poodle named Ruff. Just identify basically be specific enough that somebody who didn't know your dog would still be able to read this and figure out, okay, this is the dog that's in the restraining order. You do have to explain under this paragraph why you should be given possession of the dog, or on the other hand, why the other person should be allowed or required to stay away from your dog or animal, whatever the case may be. Finally, under additional orders requested, if you would like the court to order or stop the other party from doing any other thing that isn't already covered, you can write that in here. Otherwise, your name goes here and then sign. And this, along with the other forms for the restraining order, gets filed in Wairika. It would be at the Wairika Courthouse at 311 4th Street on the second floor in the clerk's office. If you are not in Siskiyou County, check the internet for the address and times for the court clerk where you are. And that's it. Thank you.